Hello, I'm Mr. Sainamont, and today we're going to draw 4 different driver poses, and these are all going to be from the side. So we'll start off with a typical pose of somebody kind of leaning forward in traffic. And we'll draw their little jawline, and then where their shoulder and torso will be, kind of hunched forward. So this is as if we are looking in the window. We're outside of the car. Maybe we're at a neighboring car or on the sidewalk looking in and seeing the driver. So we're only really going to see the upper body and a little bit of the arm, or most of the arm actually. So we're going to have the steering wheel about like nose level, or maybe a little bit lower, maybe like chin level. Steering wheels are always tilted to face the driver. So they're always going to be, in this case, looking like they're tilted away from the driver. And that's just for more convenient reach. All right, so the hand, we're not really going to see fingers in this particular pose. We will see like the pinky and the shape of the hand connected to the elbow, the shoulder. I'll draw a little shirt sleeve there. And then the ear lined up with where the eyes will be. And then I'm going to kind of figure out where I want the overall window frame to be. So this particular car, this is no real car, and it's just very generic. But I would, if you are drawing this for an image or for a comic, really make sure that you are referencing the car that you want to draw, because every car window frame is unique. Every car design has their subtleties there that you want to be aware of. So that diagonal line kind of hides half of the seat, and that's like where the door would open. So the first panel of window, the next window would be right behind it. And then have a seat belt. I'm just kind of cleaning up those lines there.
Psst, check out what I got. Mr. Sainamont is currently taking commissions.
Hey, what do you got there?
Nothing.
Oh, wow. Nice commissions. Nice.
Order yours today.
All right, moving on to the next pose. This one is going to be more of a 3/4 view. So we'll see more of the person's face than the previous pose, and they will have their elbow out of the car. So I actually read somewhere that in some states it's technically illegal to have your elbow hanging out of your window frame. That's interesting. I doubt it's ever really taken seriously or acted on. It's probably just like one of those weird laws. Anyway, so we have the torso kind of leaning back this time, whereas the first one was tilted forward. I'm going to draw the hand tucking down back into the car, and the elbow, the roundness of the elbow, is going out of the window frame. So I'm just kind of figuring out where that window frame will be. And then the foreshortened upper part of this driver's arm is not seen very much, hidden mostly behind the forearm. And then I'm going to curve the end of the window frame where the door would open up. So it's like, because if you think about cars, they have a lot of aerodynamics and curvature to them. So when seen from different angles, you'll see more of the curve. All right, we have a long sloping windshield angle there. And then I will draw the steering wheel again, like the center of the steering wheel faces the driver. But in this case, this angle looks like the wheel is tilted to the left. And just like the last pose, we really won't see fingers. We might see a little thumb right here. But for the most part, the hand is on top of the wheel, so you won't really see any detail beyond that. There we have the forearm, and the upper arm is extended out to grab the wheel. Now, this particular driver seems to have their seat tilted back a bit more, just because they are leaning back and then also have to reach further forward in order to get that wheel. So, where the seat position is, you can adjust, push forward or push back, just depending on, the mood or the character's preferences. All right, so there's the seat back and the headrest, and then I'm going to draw the seat belt coming out at that diagonal going to the frame. And then I'm going to draw the interior. That's going to be like the ceiling, and then the other like part of the frame on the other side. I'll shade those in just to show that it is from a 3/4 angle. So we are seeing inside the car, and we are seeing a little bit of like behind the driver as well. Just cleaning up that forearm there. And then as far as like what would go in front of the steering wheel, I would probably put a rear view mirror, or there's like a little wedge piece that would kind of close up the window there, square up the window a bit more. All right, this next one is going to be more of a fisheye view. This is a fun one. This would probably work really nicely inside of a comic panel. You'll see why. And well, I'll tell you right now. The reason is because of there's no straight lines on this one. So there are no lines that would compete with the straight lines of a comic panel. So you would have top, bottom, left, and right lines of the frame not coming into any contact with this car. So you'll see what I mean once I draw the figure. So we're drawing the head, neck, and keeping those shoulders pretty slim just because that's the character's proportions I typically draw, keeping it consistent with the other pose videos. Now this time we will see the fingers. So I'm just marking in where the fist will curl over the steering wheel. And then there's the back, like the palm of or the edge of the hand, the bottom. There's the forearm, upper arm coming together there. Trying to figure out the proportions and the connection between the upper and lower arm there, or forearm. The other arm's in the background. We won't see that one. So there are the fingers. I'm blocking those in for now. And then we'll draw the seat. This seat is tilted back a little bit. And all three of these pretty much have the same look to the seat. It's just a couple of, half cylindrical shapes that are making up the headrest and the overall seat. Okay, now here's where it gets interesting. You can see that curvature there, and then we have the other curve that represents the end of the window, or the frame that comes up separating the two windows. And then we have the line coming up, and then it's going to swoop down in the foreground. So we will be able to see some more dynamic angled lines, like I said, and this is a more interesting position in my opinion. There's the windshield. You can see how dramatic that windshield slopes down. And then in the foreground area, I'm going to go ahead and sketch in. First I'll draw the steering wheel, so we'll see more of the roundness of the wheel, and then I'm going to draw this shape here, which is the rear view mirror, and then that little wedge where the rear view mirror attaches to. So you can see how this one just has a little more dynamic angle and adds more interest to the overall scene. And so if you can imagine the edges of the screen that we're looking at as comic panels, then this one fits a bit better, as long as you keep away from tangents, like little points of contact that are awkward. This could be good for, like I said, a comic high stakes chase scene, although the guy looks really relaxed. All right, fingers, just kind of softening those up, making those a little more accurate. And then we won't see the other forearm. There's a seat belt there over the shoulder. Gotta wear your seat belt, kids. And then I'm just giving this guy like a sweatshirt or like a sweater, just kind of loosening up the lines around the shoulder and arm. And then also kind of separating out that line there so it's not actually connecting the line there. And then parts of the steering wheel. And yeah, we're pretty much done. All right, this last one is a variation on the first one, but I'm going to be using the actual comic frame panels as the edges. So we're not going to see really much of the window. We will see an angle of the windshield, but we won't see the top of the car or the door. And while I draw this, because the directions are pretty much the same as the first one, this character looks a little more stressed out. I'll even draw a face right here. I'll tell you a little story of a really bad car accident that I was involved in. So my wife and I were headed back from a really nice trip to San Francisco. We saw a concert and stayed in a really interesting hotel that was reportedly haunted, but it wasn't scary when we went. Anyway, we had a great time. We were coming back. We were playing some really nice, relaxing music. My wife was taking a nap in the passenger seat, and I was going about 70 miles an hour in the fast lane. And suddenly I approach on the lane next to me. I see a really nice custom yellow Corvette. And I was checking out this Corvette and really admiring it. It was really, really kept up, in nice shape. Had a custom license plate, and to this day I cannot remember it because that's vital to the story. So as I'm passing this Corvette, I look and I see this older man, and he is nodding off to sleep as he's driving. And I think, is he falling asleep? And just as I think that, I pass by him and I hear the yelping of his front tires, and his car slammed into the back wheel of my car. I had a little hatchback, a Scion. It was like a little gray Scion. And immediately my car wants to start spinning. And at that speed, if my back end were to kick out, we would have flipped. We would have tumbled. So I fought the fishtail by turning into it. And I was able to hold off until I locked up the brakes because I kind of panicked. And in doing so, when I locked the brakes, the wheels slid, and we ended up hitting the center divider and then spinning across all 5 lanes of the freeway. And throughout our spin, another car collided with us, and then it finally brought us to a stop. And my wife was, abruptly woken up and kicked her, shins underneath the dashboard. She got her shins all dented up, and she had to be checked out of the hospital just because I think she also bit her lip when she was like awakened to this chaos. And so she had blood coming out of her mouth, and so they wanted to double check to make sure she was okay. But to this day, I cannot remember the name of the license plate, and the guy got away. All right, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Have a good day.